Hi, my name is Phil. I live here in Northern Ontario and I just received my 2024 Skidoo Renegade Enduro with the 900 Ace turbo motor in it. That is the 130 horsepower model. Prior to this, I had a 2018 Arctic Cat 7000 that had the Yamaha 4-stroke motor in it. And prior to that, I had a 2014 Yamaha Viper, again with a 4-stroke motor. I was looking to change it up, try a different brand, but stay with the 4-stroke. So that being said, I was doing a lot of research on the Skidoo website, on the Facebook groups, on forums, on YouTube, trying to get some of my questions answered and seeing what is the best fit for me. Although all those avenues did answer many of my questions, I still had many that were unanswered. Especially this year in 2024, the Renegade now sits in the Gen 5 platform with the 4-strokes. That introduced even more questions, and reviewing again the forums and Facebook, and that a lot of people have these same questions that I do that currently remain unanswered. So I figured now that I have the sled, I was going to put together a video that can go through some of these things and really illustrate the differences between the Adrenaline and the Enduro. So what are you getting for that extra money that you're putting out? As well as some of the, I guess, key points that I'm seeing going from an Arctic Cat and Yamaha over to a Skidoo. What are some of the differences in just the OEM, the platform that exists here? So starting at the back, you can see that I've purchased a few accessories. And if we go right to the back, you can see that I've purchased the hitch. To get the hitch, you also needed the heavy-duty bumpers. So these two are not part of the Enduro package. These are accessories that the dealer has installed for me. I have the link bag as well as the stackable gas can. One thing to note, again, a bit of a surprise to me, it is in the documentation, I just happened to miss it, is that this is the stackable gas can, but as you can see, that you still need to actually purchase the link brackets to go on top of it. So I was slightly disappointed that I have to spend another $50 to actually make use of the stackable gas can. So just side note there, that's something to keep in mind if that's what you're ordering. This is the track that comes with the Enduro. It is the 1.25" ice ripper. So what makes the ice ripper is that it has the studs that protrude out of the top of the lugs. For those who are unfamiliar with this style of track, it is not the same as a fully studded track. It probably sits somewhere partway between an unstudded track and a fully studded track. It is intended to give you an element of safety and an element of traction, additional traction while on hard and icy surfaces, but you will get more traction if you have a fully studded track. I'm hoping to get a little bit more fun factor out of this track and be able to slide around when I want to slide around and not have a fully studded track restrict me on that, yet still maintain certain elements of safety with it. The next thing I want to point out, which is not particular to the Enduro, however, coming off of, again, the Arctic Cat lineup, it is the weight transfer block. To change the weight transfer block on the Arctic Cat, I had to basically loosen up the bolts, rotate the block, line it up the best I could, and retighten things up. Very doable on the trail, very annoying, and something that I really avoided doing. Skidoo has made this extremely easy, and I'm really looking forward to playing with this on the trail. You simply press the button on the bottom and then rotate, and it snaps into place. Do the same on both sides, make them both same settings, and you're good to go. Extremely quick and easy adjustment on the trail. And again, I'm really looking forward to trying this out. Next, you can see part of the accessories that I've purchased is the tunnel mounted ice scratchers. There are two versions that are out there. There are the rail mounted and the tunnel mounted. I have chosen to go with the tunnel mounted. You'll see pros and cons to each on the Facebook groups and forums. So as we unhook it, there it is. And this you can also reverse with it on. You can see at the bottom that the tip is changeable, and you can order these and replace as needed. So next, as we move up, you can see the rear shock. This is what makes the Enduro the Enduro. This is what separates this sled out from the other Renegades in this lineup. This air shock is controlled via the 10-inch screen that this comes with. We'll get to that shortly. But the other item I want to point that you can still see here is the torsion springs. They still exist. They're on. They come with the Enduro. That is intended to keep your sled up, regardless of that shock. And again, you can see that you can adjust it through the cam as you would on most other sleds. So the point being is that there's some misinformation out there that if the air shock was to go, or if you have problems with the air shock, that you're going to be walking out of the bush. That is not the case. This sled still comes with the torsion springs. You'll be riding pretty low, but it's not solely dependent on the air shock. Next is the seat. This is the only element of the sled that actually has the Enduro badging, unlike previous models. This year, as I'm sure you've seen in the literature, they've labeled this as the Renegade Adrenaline with Enduro package. Personally, I find that a little on the silly side. I fully understand it. It really is an Adrenaline with an Enduro package on it. However, it's still a Renegade Enduro. Even the registration says Renegade Enduro on it. So having more badging would be quite welcome for future years. This is the only element that says Enduro on the sled, short of the registration plate on the side. So this seat is heated. Again, this is one difference between the Adrenaline and the Enduro. The heated seat comes with the Enduro package. One of my questions that I had, again, moving into the Gen 5 platform, is this heated seat controlled through the new screen? The answer is no. So the heated seat has a control that is similar to before, where it just toggle switch to switch between low and high, and that's where it's located. Just to the right of this, you can see that we have the heated visor plug. It is coming out on an angle. I know I've read things that it's either straight up and down. It's going to collect snow, water. It's a nice cap that's on it. It's sturdy. Again, it's on the angle. I really don't think that there's going to be any issues with that. Right below that is the key slash tether switch here. So I believe they call these the DES. As we move up to the handlebars, we can see that the throttle, again, there's questions as to whether this was going to receive the same throttle setup as they switched to on the Turbo R. The answer is no. And people were wondering whether this throttle was still reversible. Can you flip it around? Yes, you can. This is something I was looking forward to, that, you know, after several hours of riding, just giving the thumb a break for a few minutes, flip it around and keep on going. I'm sure it's not something I'm going to be riding with day in, day out, but just for those periods of time that I'm looking for a break. On the other side, we have the new cluster. That's the button cluster here to control the new screen. I've seen many reviews on this. There's lots of how-to videos. We're not going to go into too much detail here. All I can say is that I've run through all of these buttons, the settings that are on the screen here. For the people that are complaining about these buttons, I've read to change the temperature of your handlebars, that can't figure it out, have to stop riding and figure out what button to press. Honestly, that's a little bit ridiculous. It is extremely easy to use. It is a single button to press, and it cycles through from hot and moves down into a lower setting for each button click, and then turns off, and then press it again, starts on high again. The only downside to this, which I'm sure you've read about already, is that they've linked the handlebar heat to the thumb warmer, and I'm sure I'm going to find that awkward while on the trail. I'm hoping that BRP is going to come up with something that makes it a little bit easier to adjust that balance on the fly, because I do, especially on the colder days, flip from handlebars on high, thumb on low, or the reverse of that. And I'm not going to look forward to flipping through the screens to adjust that balance. It is easy to get to, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to play with the touch screen while riding. or pull over and go through the touchscreen to figure out how to do that. I'm hoping they introduce something as press and hold for 2 seconds and then you flip over to that balance screen and just adjust it up and down, something along those lines. That would make it much more user-friendly. But as far as cycling through all the other screens, there's no issues at all. Okay, next are the skis. These are the Pilot TX skis. The TX skis, this is what comes with the Enduro package. This is another difference between the Adrenaline and the Enduro. The TX skis are adjustable carbides. And one of my questions was how you can tell what the adjustment is, how far down are they? Any videos, they do point out, yeah, here's the adjuster, but you never really get a good shot of what does that actually look like. So there it is. What I'm gonna do is turn it down so that you can see how it's very easy to turn. I am impressed with that. You go through a bunch of clicks and then again, we're down at the bottom here. Next is the bumper. The bumper on the Enduro is different than what comes with the Adrenaline. The bumper is the heavy duty bumper. And again, part of the Enduro package is the front bumper gets the high heavy duty bumper. The rear bumper remains the same. So in my case, I had it the rear bumper updated to the heavy duty so I can have the hitch. But that is not standard with the Enduro. Only the front bumper is updated to the heavy duty. The windshield is the mid-height windshield. Documentation is clear on that this is the mid-height windshield that comes with the side deflectors. But a lot of pictures of the Enduro show the adjustable windshield. Even on the Skidoo Roadshow, the one that they had on display had the adjustable windshield on it. And I believe in previous years, at some point they had the adjustable windshield that came with it. I could be wrong in that, but again, just for clarity here, you do not get the adjustable windshield. You get the mid-height that comes with the air deflectors on the side. The Adrenaline also comes with the same setup. So there's nothing different here for the Enduro. I was expecting a little bit of change here, but there's not. They seem to be identical. All right, with the side panel open, again, this is the Gen 5 platform. So this is a little bit different than the Gen 4s. So I'll just give a quick look around here so you can see. Coming off the Articat, having a spare belt holder right here is excellent. We've had to store our spare belts in our luggage areas on the tunnel, taking up room back there. This is not a new concept of storing a spare belt up here, but I've been without that for a number of years. So not taking up my cargo space is a very welcome coming into the Skidoo lineup here. As we move to the other side, you can see that there's a lot happening on this. This is where we have the air compressor for the air shock. Again, I'll start up the sled shortly here and give a demonstration of that. And another difference here between the Enduro and the Adrenaline package is that in the specific motors of the 900 Ace and the 900 Turbo, you have a manual lever for reverse in the Adrenaline lineup. In the Enduro, all three models of the 900, 900 Turbo, and the Turbo R have the push button that is activated with the servo. All right, the next thing I wanted to demonstrate, and this is something that I was really curious about, that I couldn't find any pictures or any demos on YouTube of this. It's with the TX ski, and when you adjust it, how far down does that carbide actually go when you adjust it? So right now, if we take a look at the setting, you can see I'm at the very top. This is the highest position of the carbide. When we flip this down, you can see that it's protruding out a little bit. Now, I realize a little bit is not exactly an exact measurement here for you, but the intent of this is just to show the difference between fully up, and then the next I'll show is when it's fully down. All right, so now it is fully down, and there was 20 clicks as I turned, and I believe a click is a half a turn. So it took 20 clicks to get down from the very top right to the bottom, and you can see that that's sticking out pretty far there. So these front shocks are the same that are on the Adrenaline. There's no difference here for going to the Enduro package. I'm not an expert on shocks. I know the question out there is whether they are rebuildable or not. The elements that I look for that tell me that is whether anything can be unscrewed, or if there's a nut or bolt that's down at the end of the body next to or at the shaft, or anything at the top here. It does not look like anything can be unthreaded or any spots to insert or bleed the nitrogen. So from what I can tell off of this is that it is not a rebuildable shock. If anybody can correct me on that, please make a comment to set the, I guess, the record straight. But everything that I see here is that it is not a rebuildable shock. So moving to the gauge cluster, if we turn it on, and get a little warning screen to start off with, hit confirm. It's bright, it's going to go into night mode momentarily here. It'll make it easier to see on the screen. If I press this button and I press it, so right here you can see that you can flip your first one. If I press it again here, flip over to Eco, Normal, and Sport mode. There's been questions about that. If I press it again, it cycles into my shock settings. So right now I'm on, I'll press that again. I'm on setting number 5, and simply head down and hit OK on the setting that you want to go to. It's simple as that. So press, we're into the shock settings, press again, it'll cycle back to your drive modes, so Sport, Normal, or Eco. Next, I'm going to start up the sled and rotate through the suspension settings levels 5 to 1. I'll let you know what level it's at. I'm going to set up the camera so you can see from the side of the sled what is happening. So you're going to see the rear of the sled raise and lower depending on what setting I'm on. It's going to get loud in here because of the sled starting. It only adjusts once you start. Any changes that I just made without the sled starting will take effect when the sled starts. You'll hear the air compressor kick in. It's loud enough. You'll absolutely hear it. And also when you're moving from 5 down to a lower setting, you're going to hear the air being released from the shock. Again, it's very pronounced. You'll hear that it's there. So here we are on level 5, the highest level that there is. I'm now going to bring it down to 1. I'll bring it up to 3. air shock was a bit of a surprise for me. I knew that it came with the air shock. I knew that it had a compressor. I just really had no idea how it actually worked, what it sounded like, how long it took to move from one setting to another. And it was definitely louder. I was not expecting a compressor. I don't know why. I knew it existed. I knew it was on there. I just wasn't expecting the sound of it. Realistically, while you're riding, how many times are you actually going to change the setting? Is it going to bother me? Not one bit. Again, just as you sit here and cycle through it, it probably gets a little bit annoying. But realistically, while you're riding, I don't think there's you're even going to notice it in the end. You'll just become accustomed to it really quick. The only other thing worth noting between the Adrenaline and the Enduro is the headlight. The headlight is labeled as the premium LED headlight, whereas the Adrenaline is the regular LED headlight. What the difference is, I really can't tell you how much better this is versus the regular one. I have no clue. The reviews last year from the G5s that had the premium LEDs was great. They got very good reviews. Myself, coming from the Ardcat, mine only had the incandescent light. I think this is going to be a significant improvement to what I had, so another thing that I'm looking forward to. So with that, I hope that this video was informative for you. I tried to get as many close-ups as I possibly could. Some of the items that I was very curious about myself, that I couldn't find any information about, and wanted to see how things actually operated. How the air shock was controlled, especially on the Gen 5s with the new screen. How much adjustment there really was on the carbides with the adjustable skis. And again, just other elements that makes this sled a little bit unique compared to the others. So hopefully this video was helpful and will help you to make an informed decision on your next purchase, or simply as you wait for your new sled to come in, it gives you a little bit to look forward to.